The Lo-Fi Horror Guys Growing on You Live, Season 12, is brought to you by Error 4444. Error 4444 is a film distribution label based in the US that is dedicated to restoring and releasing cult action, horror, sci-fi, and exploitation films on Blu-ray from across Asia, which is absolutely sick. I am so excited for these releases and for this company. They strive to release hidden gems that are either out of print or have never had the treatment of, the Blu-ray, the DVD treatment in the US, and giving these films the collector's editions that physical media fans of world genre cinema deserve. So cool. I love it. Their first ever Blu-ray release, Anatomia Extinction, directed by Tokyo Gore Police director Yoshihiro Nishimura, is now available on their site exclusively at error4444.bigcartel.com. That is error4444.bigcartel.com. It's limited to 1,000 copies, and they have less than 25% of their stock remaining. So they're dwindling, and they're super limited. Horror collectors like myself eat this stuff up. Go and check them out right now. I have my copy pre-ordered, and I completely support these guys. I'm so happy to be working with them and them helping me out this season. This season is This Is Hell month. So excited. Really, really cool guests. Thank you very much for stopping by. Enjoy the episode. And 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Lo-Fi Horror Guy, and welcome to another episode of Lo-Fi Horror Guys Growing on You Live. Today, we're going to be having on my dude, Dan Bourke. This season is brought to you by Error 4444. Check them out at Error 4444 on Instagram. Let's see here. Let's get my man Dan here up, and let's get this bad boy on the rolling. Let's see. All right, Dan, what is going on, man?
How we doing? All right,
dude. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for taking the time today, dude. So sick.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, happy to be here. Awesome. No one cares to talk to me much more about music at this point.
Dude, it's crazy because it's one of those things, and I will say, from my earlier coming up as far as through hardcore and different things, I can say like one of my drum inspirations, and not just saying this because you're here, but was you. I absolutely strived for a lot of stuff with your work in This Is Hell, and then went Stray from the Path, was kind of doing some albums, and then I kind of heard they had a lineup change. You were incorporated with that. That was one of the first things that drew me listening to them as well. So this is sick, man. I'm so excited for this. This is amazing. I can't wait to hear.
That means a lot, man. It really, started at a really young age. I don't know if we're starting the interview here, but that means a ton. And it's funny too, because I've even had some people that have approached me years later saying that This Is Hell was maybe the first hardcore band they listened to. I'm like, Oh, wow, pretty cool. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And we'll dig into some of that too, here. But I have a couple of things initially here. I got a couple of icebreakers, and then we're going to dig into the remainder of the interview. And I have the one finale as far as this little kind of This Is Hell March Madness that I've been doing here for the season here. So if you're all good and comfy, man, we'll get started.
I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Sweet. All right, let me ask you first of all, if you had the opportunity to fill in playing drums with Guns N' Roses, and they asked you to play any 3 songs, other than the hits, what would you have to play? What would you want to play in the set?
Oh, man, other than the hits?
Shoot. Make it fun,
Yeah. My Michelle My Michelle's like my favorite Guns N' Roses song. Well, in November. Oh. But these are all their songs are jammers. Come on, they're all hits. I don't know. Are there some deep cuts? I'm an excellent whistler. I could actually whistle Patience real well. So I don't know. Honestly, I've always said that I don't really have a perfect answer to that question, but I've always said that if there was ever one band or time that I would have loved to, or even just scene that I would have loved to have been involved in, it's that, dirty LA, kind of metal / thrashy scene that they had, everyone hanging out at the Rainbow Room and all that. Anytime we would play LA, I would go to the Rainbow Room just to see what washed up the guys, the singer of Puddle of Mud, whoever is there. But, yeah, that was, how old was I at that point? Maybe I think I was like 4 years old when I heard November Rain. It was my favorite
Oh,
song.
okay.
Go to my nursery school class with my little cassette player, and the teacher would let us play musical chairs to my Guns N' Roses cassette back in the day. Pretty
Oh
wild.
my God. No
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
They weren't like drawn off from that? Like, no, this is too much.
At a church too, man. This is at my local, Catholic church where I went to nursery school. So, yeah, I don't know. Really bold teacher, I
Damn,
guess.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring a little change, have a little spice in with it. I like that. That's sweet.
Later down the line, in high school, you go to like religion classes after school, and I remember wearing my Rage Against the Machine "Fear Is Your Only God" T-shirt. This is in like 7th grade, but "Fear Is Your Only God" on the back, and maybe I didn't even totally understand exactly what that meant at the time, but I remember the nun like, "Unreal. This is unreal."
Holy shit, that is
Yeah.
fucking unreal. That's hilarious. It's funny you bring up Rage Against the Machine too, because actually my wife just the other day told me she scored tickets for this next year for those concerts, and I'm not even sure what the total was or anything. But dude, like that's one of those things that I never thought would have been a possibility, and I'm probably gonna lose my fucking mind. Like I don't know where life's gonna go after that, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be insane.
Yeah. I Rage was one of my first absolute favorite bands, and I did not score any tickets to those shows. They just moved them all back to 2022 now as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't score any tickets. I think part of it for me, and hey, this is probably just me, is growing up, I never had went to a concert. I never had been to a concert until I was significantly older. My first shows were just shows at my local VFW hall. So then when I started to go to something like Warped Tour, I was kind of even a little turned off by it because I'm like, oh, you mean I can't like scream in the dude's face? This sucks,
Yeah. Yeah.
That disconnect really turned me off. Some of my favorite bands growing up were local bands, and then seeing bands in a big place really kind of turned me off. So I don't know if you gave me free tickets to the show, I'd go see Rage Against the Machine. I don't know how I'd feel sitting in a seat, about a quarter mile away. You can sit there,
Yeah, totally.
of course, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that too. That's definitely one of those things where it can almost make or break seeing a band for the first time too. If it's somebody that you've seen for so long and you're kind of waiting, and then there's that disconnect. Like even seeing Zach De La Rocha and Inside Out. Those earlier days, and being so close, that would have been sick.
That would have been so cool. I actually saw when I was filling in for Straight from the Path for a show where their new drummer couldn't get his visa in time for their record release shows a couple years back. We were playing a show in Philly. Turns out that Prophets of Rage were playing a show up the road, and we were friends with the promoter. And when I say a show up the road, it was a secret show in like maybe a 500 or so cap venue.
Oh shit! Wow.
So I went and I'm crowd surfing to Bulls on Parade and stuff. There's a video of me. It's pretty wild with Be Real doing a mic handout. I'm like, what is my life? I'm in my 30s. That was really Zach, but hey, I'll take it. That was a neat moment. That was really cool.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I love that. That's sweet. Now, next up, I wanted to ask you, as far as kind of hearing some of your interviews and doing some research. Back in the day, you were real into playing some video games. Tell us about if you could have any one of your songs ever be in any video game. What would the song be, and what would the game be?
Oh, that's funny. What is it, like Nardwar style interview here? Yeah, I was big into gaming growing up, and then I got a little more into music and like BMX and stuff. So I found out that there was an outside world. I'm like, oh, let me go explore that.
Yeah.
Shoot. I think some of the, there's some This Is Hell songs that would certainly be cool on like a rock band thing or something like that, or like maybe this song on the Straight from the Path record called Manipulator that has some kind of fast drumming and intricate parts.
Yeah.
I think they'd all be pretty good. I can't think of one off the top of my head. This is something you're going to have to remember in this interview is not only one, was this a while ago. I recorded most of this stuff, but even when you were asking my favorite tracks, I had to go re-listen to them.
Yeah.
That are pretty deep. Yeah, I don't know.
No,
I
that's,
think
I mean, that's a good answer too. I like that. You know, as far you mentioned BMX, did you used to play any of like the BMX video games that they had on PlayStation and shit?
oh, absolutely. Dave Mirra BMX was one of my favorite. That was that on?
Dude, I don't remember. I don't know if it was on Dreamcast or not. I had it on PlayStation, I think.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2.
Either way, yeah, that was one of my favorite games. That was the best. It would always get me psyched to go out. I spent the vast majority of my childhood in the woods, you know, with my buddies, with blood coming down from our shins, and and yeah, I spent a lot of time in there.
Yeah,
Those were the
totally.
days. But those, BMX and skate culture always went really hand in hand with our with punk and hardcore, right? So
Mhm.
um, I didn't even have a car until like the end of high school because me and my buddies would all just ride our bikes everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Straight from our local trails over to the VFW Center where they were having a show that night, and then ride our bikes at midnight back on home. So they always went really hand in hand, and definitely we always found out about some good bands through those games and stuff too, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that's a funny thing too, as well. You know, that was where, that kind of cross culture, you'd go and you'd pick up, like maybe a skate video or a video game, and all of a sudden you're hearing different bands. One of the earlier times I heard Primus was from Tony Hawk. I'm like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
this?
yeah. As far as growing up, there was some hip hop that I had seen on MTV or whatever, but I was never really too into that culture. But there were a lot of BMX videos. There was one called Rhythm that I used to watch back in the day all the time, and that's where first heard. I think like MF Doom was on there. Mos Def, stuff like that what you wouldn't typically hear. So I was introduced to a lot through that culture. Those are good times.
Yeah, sick, sick. Now, your dad being a drummer, what music or drummers did he introduce you to? I know initially you weren't really all that interested in it, but when that kind of came around and you started picking up a little bit of interest, what was he introducing you to?
Yeah, so growing up, he had a kit in the basement of the house, a really nice one, a Pearl Masters, and it was kind of annoying at the time because either I'm playing games or I'm watching cartoons. I'm like, Ma, shut him up down there. Uh, but he was into a lot of funk and stuff, and he was a big fan of the Police. So Stuart Copeland, of course, who he always stuck with me a lot too. Just some of those unique, I guess. What the heck is that style? Like reggae-ish kind of, triplets that he would do and stuff. I always took big influence from that, and that was kind of from my father's interest in him. But my dad listened to a lot of Stevie Wonder. He was a big Sade fan. A lot of like funk and R&B type stuff. So he also then became a big Dave Matthews fan, and I was like, oh my God, this is the dorkiest crap I've ever heard. But then, you open up your mind a little bit, and you're like, oh, Carter Buford is maybe one of the best drummers on earth, so I'm gonna give this a
Kills
go.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
I often use his drums on, I forget which album it is, but as a when I go into a studio, I say, hey, I want my drum tones to sound like this. And the engineers often
Oh,
laugh at me
really?
because typically in metal and hardcore and punk, you want more attack on the drums. And he just has tone. When you hit those toms, you hear doom, 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 where on a
Right.
typical metal record, it's just doom, doom. It's just a sound of a
Yeah.
tom. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
would
right.
always
Real flat.
right, exactly. I would always use that as a reference, and they would often laugh at me. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever the fuck you want to do, just let's go.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean that's absolutely wild. That would be the last thing I would think, but after you mentioned that too, that is something that definitely that totally makes sense. But I would have never guessed that in a
One,
million fucking years.
what, yeah, well, one of my favorite drumming performances on any like hardcore record is I forget who the drummer is, but the dude that played on the Agoraphoric Nosebleed split with
Oh,
Converge, the Poster Diaries. That drum performance and the drum tones on the Converge side of that record are some of my favorite drum sounds on earth. I don't know what it is about them. I'm really bad at verbalizing sounds. So that's why I get so frustrated in the studio when I'm like, oh, I want him to sound a little more like this. And they're like, huh? I'm like, oh, fucking go. You
oh, that's
yeah,
funny.
that's here with the record. But yeah, that's one of my favorite drum sounds ever. And the drummer is fantastic on that record too.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah.
What can you, kind of digging into a little bit of the earlier days of buying music, what can you remember being an earlier album or CD or tape that you bought with your own money? May it be, like an allowance or a paycheck you got?
So it's my this is my old cassette.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we got some oldies here. I don't remember what my first one was, but
Nice.
we got Alice in Chains here. Oh, here, of course, a little Rush.
Nice.
9 Inch Nails here. You big Jerky
What was
Boys
that?
fan?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, no shit. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So I was, into just, I learned about MTV at a very young age, and I got into music super, super young, especially because my folks were both into music. We weren't into the same type of stuff, but I say my first three favorite bands were Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, and well, I guess not a band, but and Michael Jackson, and that was like super young. I don't own any Michael Jackson tapes, but yeah, I can't believe I still have these. I'm glad I kept these. Oh, Cranberries. Yeah, baby.
Nice, nice, nice. I know I saw you recently on your page. You did a No Doubt cover, and I was like, dude, and it totally made sense too. I mean, that was sick. That was good shit, man.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, they were a fantastic band. That album's great. You know what? Little side note, something that really pissed me off about the hardcore scene when I was that young was there was a very elitist mentality, and a lot of people were not open to expanding their horizons. If you wore a Slipknot show to a hardcore show, you were made fun of. And and a little part of me got involved in that, where I actually got rid of some of my old stuff, like some old CDs and stuff that I'm like, yeah, this stuff sucks. I'm not gonna listen to that anymore. And I'm like, now I find myself pulling it up on Apple Music.
Yeah.
Even when This Is Held, when we did our Polygraph Cheaters video, we were getting crap on like the B9 board, like hardcore bands don't make music videos, and then a year or two later, Terror puts out a music video and it's like, oh, this is awesome. All right. So,
Yeah, what the hell's going on?
Right. So, I've always just been, I've had a very vast interest in different styles of music. I listen to some country. I've always liked punk and hardcore. I've liked R&B. And, yeah, so that's why I think, something doing like a No Doubt cover is, I don't know, certainly
So sick.
suitable. Yeah.
Yeah. And something I had heard in interviews, something that you had touched on before is just the aspect of, and I think something that's always resonated with me with hardcore in general is, just having the integrity of going out and doing the shit because it's what you want to be doing. You're having fun. You love it. Somebody had asked something about, how to get big or different things like that. And it's like, that you're starting off fucking yourself up, because it's like, that's not what it's all about. It's about having fun and having the passion and a good time. And if that stuff comes around with it, then it does, and it's such a true statement, man, and you kind of mentioned it too, as far as, people having shit to say or whatever. It's like, hey man, it's what I like. If you don't like it, then I guess fuck off. We don't have to talk, but
Right. I've been asked plenty by other musicians in the Long Island scene, like what to do to get to a certain level. And the answer is always the same. Write songs, go and perform them at your local bar. If they're good, people will come back to see you the second time. Rinse and repeat. That's it, man. Rage Against the Machine didn't have big scrims and cool outfits and this and that. Plenty of bands weren't like that, Write songs, play them. If they're good, people will come back. If people aren't coming back, your songs stink. Go write different ones. And that's all. And then don't forget that it's all for fun. I happen to have I guess you can maybe consider this a luxury, but I happen to be in bands where we wrote some songs and people liked them, so we kept playing them. That and we rinse and repeated. I rinsed and repeated that with a couple different bands throughout the course of my career, back to playing This Is Hell, even Soldiers, and then Straight from the Path, and then even Afterparty. But yeah, I guess that's it. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I dig that too. And that was something that, just you mentioned as far as like people saying stuff about the Slipknot shirts or whatever, like that was something too, kind of in my research of different interviews with you, where I was like, fuck, there it is. It's just kind of one of those things. Just go out and do the shit because you're having fun doing it. And if other things come along, and opportunities, then hey, cool. Now I'm getting paid for doing the same shit that I did before that I loved. So
Absolutely.
good
And yeah,
point.
the perfect line too was, if you're starting a music career, to have a music career, yeah, you shot yourself in the foot right there. Write music for fun, and if people like it, lucky you, you have a career.
Yeah.
And in this case, right, in this culture too, with the Voice and all these stupid shows, where they pick a winner. What was the story? I think it was maybe Tony Braxton, who got founded pumping her gas at the gas station while she was singing at the gas pump. Like, yeah, these are 1 in 5 million opportunities. So yeah, just do it for fun. If people like the tunes, they'll come back. It's simple as that.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
So kind of digging a little bit into your drumming as well. When you initially started picking it up, what were some of the first songs or, first albums that you wanted to play along with? And what was maybe a song that you kind of had to practice and get down before you could really, hang with it?
I used to play along to Green Day's Dookie almost every single time I sat at the drums. And it was a record that I really, really liked, of course, but it was also because the drums were so pronounced and so clear. You could tell every click of the hi-hat. You could tell every kick of the kick drum. Every little hit that he did, you could tell it was really clear. At that point, they were only a 3-piece band, too, so it wasn't really fighting against many other instruments in the mix, So, yeah, and plus, if I wanted to play fast, there you go. There's your perfect intro, because they're like, a lot of their songs are mid-tempo fast,
Yep.
So, yeah, I would play to that almost exclusively. Then I would try to play to some, I was big into some classic rock back then, too, so some Zeppelin and stuff, and Guns N' Roses songs. But, yeah, it was almost every single time it was that Green Day record. And then I guess as I was trying to push myself, shoot, I don't know. I got into At the Drive-In at a kind of a younger age as well, and that was,
Okay.
looking back on it, I don't think those drums are really, really hard drums, but the memorization of the songs was new to me, and I got into like Dillinger Escape Plan too. That was, I'm not even giving it a shot at least. But I was super impressed by these bands and how, okay, like an At the Drive-In song, you have 20 parts in this song. So, oftentimes, like even when I joined Straight from the Path, for example, their songs really at the time didn't have much structure to them at all. So it wasn't a matter of, am I physically capable of playing these songs? Am I technically proficient enough to play these songs? It was, shit, I have to memorize 20 parts now for 2.5 minute piece of music. Like, that's
Right.
the difficult part, Okay,
Yeah.
10 seconds later, change here again, and then all these random jabs and stuff. One, two, three, that. So, yeah, it's just a memorization. So those At the Drive-In ones are the earliest ones I can think of that were mentally kind of tricky.
Okay. Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and I mean a different style too. As long as or as well as saying not necessarily maybe the most technical or craziest shit, but definitely something where it's not maybe just a verse chorus and you're playing the same things bouncing back and forth. Having more thrown at you. It's like you got to kind of practice at that and get a little more proficient.
Right. Even I've done a Dillinger Escape Plan cover one time, and before I even did the cover, it was a half hour of me sitting with a notebook writing down numbers. That's all it was. Like I used to play in marching band, so I know how to read music, but I don't know how to notate music or write music, like sheet music. So I write down
Mm-hmm.
numbers. Dillinger's song started with just one of those, one of those where there's all the accents, and then there's 2 accents, and then 3. So I'm writing down 1, 2, 3, 2, and it was just a long list of numbers, and I would look at the book over and over, 1, So yeah, it's a half hour just to learn. Anyways,
Damn. Yeah. Yeah. What song was it?
what the hell was it? On the what, that EP, that 3-song EP, the
Irony is a Dead Scene.
no, Under the Running Board was it called?
Okay.
Dillinger Escape Plan artist.
Real early days there.
Yeah. LPs. Oh, they don't even have it on here. Oh, they don't even have it
Okay.
on music. Oh, well, either
I'm
way.
familiar.
Okay.
It's been a little bit, but yeah, either way, I mean, I'm sure, your wife probably came home and looked and thought you were trying to hack into a fucking website or some shit. All the damn numbers on the paper.
I, the Mullet Burden, the very first song. Can you hear this?
Oh, yeah.
And then
Okay.
this
Yep.
first part coming up, if you're not familiar with it, just this little bit right here. Everyone understands ba 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 ba. That was all numbers. 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 2 3 4. For seconds in, and that would have taken me a half hour to.
Just to write out. Yeah. Okay. Nice. What was your first drum kit?
Tama Rockstar. I'm not even a Tama
Okay.
fan. I don't really like Tama drums. Maybe listen, the Tama could be awesome, but I think I was never a big Metallica fan. So I always there was just that connection with those kind of rock drums, and I wasn't into that. Like, I'm a rocker, and the name was
Okay.
all right. So, but I was young. My mother got it for me as a gift. I didn't have a kit at all. At that point in my life, my folks were divorced, so my dad had his kit at his place, and I didn't have a kit at the house. And I had been playing in school band for maybe a year or two at that point. So she came home with this Tama Rockstar from the local music store, and my dad was nice enough to let me borrow his cymbals, but I would break those things all the time, dude. Because
Oh no.
cymbals could be like $300 a pop, and he's just nice and light on them, playing his R&B tune. And I'm practicing, Green Day songs and Slipknot songs on them, So,
Oh no.
sorry, yeah, but that was my first kit. It wasn't bad, a 5-piece, chrome. It was rocking.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Now,
Yep.
kind of from going, as your interest in music and then kind of playing along, with albums and different things. Tell us about starting or joining your first bands and kind of how you met some of the cats in the band.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, there was a lot of uninteresting bands that I played in when I was in high school and stuff. My local pop punk bands and stuff that didn't go anywhere past my local VFW hall. But
Sure.
I was lucky enough to be friends with this guy. His name is Andrew Jones. He's still like one of my best friends. He lives 5-10 minutes away from me here. His wife and my wife are like best as well. And I was like, I hung with some of the older kids in high school, that went to these local punk and hardcore shows. Andrew happened to host shows in his parents' basement. And we had the same like lunch period. I don't know. We just like became relatively close just from going to shows and stuff. And he would drive me to shows. And he was in this band, The Backup Plan, which was one of the bands where some of the members started This Is Hell, right? So the drummer of that band, Chris Gleason, was my favorite drummer. The Backup Plan was my favorite band, and their drummer was my favorite drummer. Just incredible style. Just played very easy looking, super fast, very like wristy, And Andrew, or I think maybe it was a guitar player, approached me one day at a show. I'm like 15, mind you, maybe, yeah, and asked if I wanted to join the band. And I crapped my khakis straight away. Well, first of all, I was devastated because they were my favorite band and I loved his drumming. So I'm thinking, what is my future like going to local shows now, like not getting to see this band anymore? But this is a very cool opportunity. So they gave me their new record that was unreleased at that point. I'm like, this is so cool. I got the new record, but it's to learn it,
All right.
And so I locked myself in my bedroom, slammed a ton of B vitamins because I heard that they gave you energy. And he played so much. I'm 15. Okay, I'm 15 years old. He played so much faster than me and could play a whole full set of songs. I couldn't do that. I wasn't doing stuff like that yet. And I kind of learned their whole album as best I could. I kind of just emulated his style as best I could. And I joined. I joined this band with all older guys. I was the only one in high school.
Okay.
My very first tour was, I believe, it was my summer break of from 11th grade going into my senior year of high school. It was like a East Coast kind of U.S. tour with that band Beloved. Do you remember that band Beloved?
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
and then Beloved, and we played, regular hardcore venues, maybe to anywhere between 50 to 100 people, but it was a huge deal. And I was maybe at that point I was like 16, going on 17 or somewhere around there. But yeah, so
Okay. All right.
cool. Yeah, it was my first real gig.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And now with so kind of transitioning into, with This Is Hell, as far as, it was different members, like you mentioned, with you guys in backup plan and Subterfuge. Where did conversations start as far as, kind of taking on doing what became This Is Hell?
Yeah, so that's a little foggy for me, to be honest. Well, one, because I was super, super young. Two, because I was kind of just along for the ride, dude. I'll be honest with you. There were a lot of conversations that went on behind closed doors that I didn't give a crap about. I had, I was just excited to be in a band. But if I remember correctly, it was that the backup plan, Scraps and Heart Attacks, and Subterfuge were like very close. We were all very close, but and this could be wrong, but I remember that there were members of each individual band that had dudes that didn't want to tour full time or couldn't tour full time. So when we started this side project, if I remember correctly, it was purposefully with the dudes in each band that were capable of doing something full time. You know what I mean? So it wasn't only
Okay. Right.
for us. It was like, okay, well, this guitar player from said band has a full-time job and wouldn't be willing to tour full-time. And we were all weekend warriors pretty much at that point. So, yeah, that was kind of thing. We had those chats about doing this. I hate to call it super group. That's giving us too much credit, but an amalgamation of these three bands, of all the dudes that wanted to tour full-time. And yeah, we put out that demo, and again, that to me was just kind of for fun, and people liked it. Like, cool, all right.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I thought at the time that we would even release it. I think if I knew we were releasing it, because I'm so new to this. This is my first time recording anything. Was that really that? Oh, was it that This Is Hell demo? I don't know. Either way, I probably would have tried a little harder. Had I known it would be touring Europe on it. We toured Europe on demo 7-inch. Like, what the hell? Maybe I would have given a couple of takes. Tunes that Snare better, but
okay.
Yeah, that's what I remember as far as it starting. There may have been some ill feelings from maybe some of the other members, like, oh, they're doing the This Is Hell thing, but we kind of wanted to take it seriously, and we all had similar ideas on music and what that we all wanted to really try. We were willing to leave the jobs behind and give it a go. So, oh well.
And that's sometimes, I mean, as far as within bands, every once in a while there's different things where, like, for instance, like with my band, I work full time and I have different things to where I can't, but we also have other drummers that, step in and, can do different things if they can go and travel. And, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't have bad blood with it, like if it takes the band further, it's kind of like a Dillinger mentality, where it's like, if somebody else can step in and we can, have an opportunity, that's something that I can't, particularly partake in, and so be it. But then there's other things where it might not work out like that, where you want to take the band, completely full time, and then making something new, every once in a while, it's just how shit happens,
Sure. Yeah. And it depends on what level you really want to take the band, right? Because after the band is established, your fans or your listeners will get more accustomed to each individual member's style. So there's only so much you could really do, the swapping in and out of members for particular gigs and stuff. But at the beginning, yeah, as you're trying to just figure it all out, yeah, you certainly could. There's ways around that. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Now, so tell us about, you got a little bit into this, but as far as, so that first recording and sessions with getting into the demo and such, what all did you remember as far as, did you have different things that, kind of took you off guard that you had to get used to with recording, or was it difficult as opposed to playing live?
Yeah, well, in regards to the demo itself, that was just done in our bass player's basement. Okay. Especially to today's standards, really kind of crude recording equipment. Nothing was difficult for me about that because I didn't know shit. I didn't know. It was, oh, he put a bunch of mics on my kit. I'm gonna do what I what we do at practice, except he's going to put it into that computer over there. All right, sounds good. Again, at this point, the demo, I'm like 16, 17. So I'm like, there was nothing difficult about it at all. And I think maybe I did 2 takes of each song, and he just went ahead and used it, you know? We were all
okay. Well,
yeah, we were all pretty young there, and it took me a little while to kind of get it. Like, oh, let me try on this next one, especially when we went to do Sundowning or even the EP. But those, I have a couple, 1 or 2 stupid things I did with those.
Okay. And so with the EP, was there anything that you took into, working on the demo that may have differed with the EP at all, or was that still the same kind of process?
Well, so the EP now was actually at a real studio, Atomic in Brooklyn, where who recorded, I want to say like Six It All recorded there. This was like a legit recording studio. So this is a first for me. So I wasn't prepared for how long the process would be. Holy crap. Like waiting in the room while the engineers, fine tuning all the drums and this and that. When I went to record the EP, and I hope this doesn't ruin the EP for anybody, I recorded that EP with 2 different kick drum beaters. One was felt. Yeah. One was felt, and the other was the reverse, like the one with the plastic stuff.
Oh my God.
So in a live setting, I keep spinning. In a live setting or just like in a jam room, you would never notice a difference, right? Because everyone's playing, you would never notice a difference. And he brings it up to me, if I remember correctly, the engineer brings it up to me. He doesn't see it, but he brings it up to me when he's recording it, like that there was a large fluctuation when I would do double kick, because it'd be like, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's because I have a felt beater on one side, because I didn't have any money either, dude. I wasn't going out and buying new stuff, especially if it didn't necessarily matter, at least in my head. So if you go back and listen to that EP, there are times you might notice that if I'm doing double kicks, that it's really loud. So stupid. You don't get much more rock than that, huh?
That's funny. I'm gonna have to go back. It kind of sounds like it's like ghost notes on a snare or something.
A little bit.
Accents.
There were
shit! I'll have to go back and listen to that.
There were certain points where the double kick was so pronounced, though, in the part, like at the end of Diamond Lanterns, for example, where we actually had to go ahead and kind of fix it, like up the volume on the left kick to make it not sound so ridiculous. Because I think at that part in the song, the only thing you hear is double kick. Like everything else drops out, So
yeah.
While we're talking about
that is funny.
Do you want to see? The EP. Did you want to see some of this stuff that I found?
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right. So it's not really a ton. But so this was, I remember when you were talking to Travis, he mentioned that there was like only that the mummy artwork. The original artwork that gentleman sent us, what was his name? Jeremy, was it? The guy's daughter?
Yeah.
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 What is it?
Damn, that is sweet too. Holy shit.
Kind of cool, right? So
yeah.
That's what he first sent us, and I thought it was pretty neat. I mean, maybe I would change the font or something, but I thought it was kind of cool. But I remember our guitar player at the time said that he was like, I don't really want a cartoon as our cover of our album. And we're like, oh, okay. And then what do we get? Another cartoon. It's just a cartoon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
damn.
yeah, so
okay.
That went unused. I thought this was kind of neat. I found the original drawing before he actually painted it. I don't know how well you can see it there, but
damn.
Kind of cool.
That is so, and it's the wraparound, right, for the back?
Exactly. Yeah. And
sick. That is awesome.
I don't know if this is common knowledge to anyone that's ever been a fan of this EP, but we've all known it in the band for a long time. But have you ever turned the actual album cover upside down?
No.
Hold on, let's see here. What does that say? Or are you backwards right now?
Yeah, it's backwards.
Okay, well, it says, "Hey, slut."
What the hell?
Yeah,
Is there further story behind this?
we have no idea if there was any intent behind that. But I guess it's backwards because we're on Instagram Live here. But yeah, next go check out your EP and turn it upside down. It's too perfect to have not been Easter egg by that Jeremy dude. I'm telling you.
Dude, that is fucking awesome. I'm gonna have to go back and automatically, like as soon as I get off this, I'm gonna have to pull that up and check it out because that is fucking hilarious. Wow, that is crazy. Yeah, I mean, just as silly as it is cool though, because man, that's funny. The amount of times I've had that damn thing in my hand, I've never thought to even look, but that's sick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is awesome. All right, so as far as with the EP and the demo, what would you say is your favorite track out of those two?
On the EP, let's start with the demo. Definitely Diamond Lanterns on the demo.
Diamond Lanterns. All right.
Yeah. I thought the lyrics were really cool. I also loved the breakdown at the end. I started
totally. Oh yeah.
writing down some answers here. Oh, on the EP. Shoot, I think I forgot to answer for that. On the EP. Oh wait, hold on. Diamond Lanterns isn't on the demo, is it?
This is what? No, I think that's on the EP.
Yeah. So okay, Diamond Lanterns would be that's my EP answer.
Okay.
And then what the hell songs are on the demo? It's Wreck Your Life. Hell
Sent and Hellbound.
Oh,
Heaven Sent and Hellbound.
Definitely Heaven Sent and Hellbound is my favorite on the demo. That's for sure.
Nice. All right, sick. All right, so we got those two. All right, so then Sundowning. What were some earlier tracks that you remember working on as far as writing and just getting ready for writing this first full length for the band?
I have recollection of doing the Misfortune stuff. I have zero recollection of writing Sundowning. I know we did it
Okay.
at our bass players at Midtown. That's where I used to practice with the backup plan as well. But I don't remember because we were writing that in 2005 or so. So I really don't remember that writing process. I do remember the recording process to a degree. That was a very difficult time. I was going through like a crappy breakup and stuff, and it had like just happened, and I'm like stuck in this studio. I'm like, it wasn't the funnest experience. Yeah, it certainly wasn't the funnest experience. I spent so much time just like out on the phone and stuff, not really involved. I felt bad about that. But but I mean, listen. I was in a band with a lot of other proficient musicians, and I trusted what they were doing. Also, I was significantly younger than everyone else, so I trusted their input. And I don't know, besides the drums, a lot of my input regarding some other stuff, kind of maybe would have went by the wayside. But let me see. Did I write anything down for that?
Do you remember anything as far as like your kit rundown at the time, like what drums or cymbals you might have had with when you were in the studio there for that?
Yeah, for sure. This was before I had any endorsements, if I remember correctly. So I was using my father's Pro Masters. Anytime I went in to record, I would borrow his Pro Masters kit, which I loved. And even to this day, like when I build custom kits with SJC, I typically just mock the Pro Masters because I loved how they sounded so much. Excuse me. So yeah, it was a Pro Masters MMX. It was maple with reinforcement rings on the toms and on the kick drum. I had a Pearl free floating snare. Are you familiar with those at all?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So they, that's where the lugs don't actually touch the shell. It's really cool. Screwed into the shell, so you get a lot more resonance. They can be a lot louder. I think that's a unique thing to Pearl. And I've always played Zildjian cymbal. Oh, well, except I had a Paiste deal for a little while. I hate Paiste cymbals.
Okay.
But I grew up playing Zildjian. I always wanted a Zildjian deal. In my head, Zildjian was only for like Carter Buford and the big guys, So for that recording, yeah, dude, I used to buy Zildjian cymbals from Guitar Center all the time, and we're talking $300 to $400 a pop for these stupid things. And at least once a tour or at least once a recording session, I'm breaking them. Where I used to have this little like scam that I would pull with Guitar Center. I'm saying it now live on the internet, but whatever. I used to like get, they had like a return policy. So I would buy, I forget exactly how it did it, but you buy 2 cymbals, buy maybe like the warranty on one of them, play it until it cracked. Because I knew I was cracking it. I think it was maybe 180 days or something that you had. And if the cymbal cracked within that time, you could return it for a replacement. I know I'm cracking it in So I would have 2, and I would take the crack one, bring it back, and this is when we'd be traveling too. So I'm going to these random guitar centers in Boise, in Tirana, we are not up there, but wherever. And they don't know me. I'm returning this. They're like, this looks pretty beat up. Is this spit all over it? Like what?
Where'd this blood come from? Oh shit. That's funny.
Thing we did in the This Is Hell days too. We'd always be spitting on stage. I don't know why, but my cymbals would always have green, specks all over them from the drive. That was cool. But yeah, that scam, and they'd have to give me a fresh Zildjian $350 a custom crash.
Yeah, damn.
Right.
Well, there it is. Yeah, I guess you can't pull that one anymore, huh?
Well, hey, everybody, go ahead. Try that one out. See what happens.
Oh, now you had mentioned something as far as some early.
No, don't.
Go ahead.
Don't do that. What'd you say? Sorry.
Don't do that. No, you had mentioned something about as far as some early mock-ups with the cover art, and I was excited to see some of that.
Yeah, so I had a couple here. Yeah, okay, here, let's open this up. Come on. So this was just, I guess Jake Bannon did them in like layers, So that was just one layer that I thought was kind of neat.
Yeah, nice.
All the bats, even some of them just look like, I don't know how you do that. It's almost like, I don't know. I don't even know how you do that, because that certainly doesn't look digital to me. It looks more like painted or spray painted, but
yeah, right.
Hey, he's the artist. Yeah, that's why he gets paid.
Right.
Like I guess just another layer before anything was added,
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Holy shit.
And then I don't remember. This might have been. Was this the finished product? I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the physical CD in a while.
I think there might be a couple more layers on it. Like the outside there was a little bit more shaded in.
I think you're right. And then this is the last one, so it didn't have a ton here, but I thought this was kind of funny. And thank the Lord we didn't go with this logo, but.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little different. Yeah.
Like the Evanescence album.
Oh shit, that is funny. Evanescence. Oh yeah. Who knows what would have happened with the career of the band then after that?
Yeah. I was always like,
God.
Bourke, dude, like the blood drips or the red paint drips that came off of the World Trade Center. That was always like God, do I like that? Is it too much? Like, what is that? Is it blood? Is it just paint? Is it just left to your interpretation? I don't even this day, whatever, 20 years later, how I feel about it. Yeah. I guess it's I guess if you're you leave it up to interpretation, it can be whatever you want. And oh, this was the final one. Yeah, you're right. So this is pretty much everything just with that stupid logo. So yeah, the red before with the extra layers. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Okay. And what was your favorite track off of Sundowning?
Oh, you know what it was? And it might be a surprising one, but oh yeah, Nobody Leaves Without Singing the Blues. That's the second to last song. Yeah. Obviously we had more, that's not a fan favorite, I don't think. We didn't really play it live much, but I thought some of the drums, I thought that song was a lot of fun to play drum wise. And I also thought, our bass player used to write a ton of the lyrics. and he was one of my favorite lyricists. I thought he was a genius. He's a doctor now. He's a really smart guy.
Was that Andrew or no?
No, that was Jeff. Jeff Tiu.
Oh
T-I.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
He was the singer of the Backup Plan.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
And that line, like in that song, we're just knocking on death's door, waiting for an answer. I'm like, that still gives me a little like chill to this day. I thought it was so cool. He was really good. So yeah, that's the one.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Now, next up, we were going to dig into misfortunes. And
Sure.
from my understanding, taking less time than what you did in the sundowning. Are there some memories or some recollections as far as in the studio working on that one?
I know Travis told you a little bit about the story, but yeah, so we had demoed some songs with this guy, Tomas, okay? He had a studio on Long Island. I loved how the songs came out. I loved that he wasn't a hardcore guy. He wasn't just giving me the flat drums. Like, he just wanted the record to sound good. And I thought that was in my opinion, I thought that would have been a really, really unique approach. Write a hardcore record in a pop studio. I don't know, not maybe a pop studio, but more of just like a rock studio. I thought it would be a really cool approach. You have a good sounding production, but the grit is from us. The grit and everything is from us, not from this recording itself, So when we did some songs with him, the drums came out awesome. And I really wanted to record there. The other guys didn't really want to record their stuff there. So as Travis told you, we came up with the idea of doing just the drums there, and then doing the rest of the music at a different studio. And the other studio is more of a metal studio. That's foreshadowing. So we do all my tracks at this one studio. And I felt a little bit like a bit of a nuisance at that point, because I'm making these guys go to this other studio when we could just be spending all our time at the one. So I felt like a bit of a nuisance. But I felt really good about this other studio and how the drums came out. I'm like, you know what? I've recorded like 5 things so far, or 3 at this point. I've never been like super just like ecstatic about how the drums sound. I'm putting my foot down on this one. I want to go there. So we're all done with the drums. The next day, the guys go to the other studio. I take like the day off because, I just did 3 days straight of drumming. I'm like, let them go check guitar sounds, and I'll be back the next day, And in the transfer of all the tracks, I guess it was like one dude used Pro Tools, one dude used something else, whatever the program was, and the files did not transfer how they should. Not only were some of them off the click, but all of the sounds were off, because there was, listen, there's some sound replacement that happens in these studios. That snare that you hear is not the natural snare. There's reverb added. There's the church room sound. They had stuff.
Yeah.
Not only were the sounds off, but also things were like off of the click, like they were off of the grid. Because of this transfer, it's if you have an iPhone and you send your buddy a file through on a Samsung, the video comes up that small. It's like that similar idea happened with these drum tracks. So,
oh man,
the only way to solve it at the time was to have him just run it through his very metal sounding, what he was used to doing. The guy at the metal studio was used to doing triggered drums and no tone at all, and he kind of just salvaged it as best he can. To his credit, this was not his fault necessarily. Now, for both of the engineers, I wish they would have maybe had this conversation sooner about what programs they used,
Yeah.
Or maybe, hey, let's record one song, or listen, I don't even have to come in. Just send one file from your studio to his file and see if it transfers before I even come in. None of that was done. So that Misfortunes album was one of the ones we worked on, or at least if I remember correctly, one of the ones we worked on for a really good amount of time. And it's like my least favorite recording, unfortunately.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and that sucks too, because I think it was maybe even the first time that I had spoke with Travis. He had mentioned that, and I'm like, oh really? And even still now I listen to it and I'm like, it's not something where it diminishes how I initially listened to it, or now I'm like, knowing that it's kind of like somewhere it's like, okay, I don't like it as much. I still love it, but as far as going through that, I can see where it'd be a little frustrating.
Yeah, and when I had such a good initial product to begin with, And I'm going home and I'm like, I'm I can't say too much around live Instagram. I'm feeling really good about it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, for it to just be like taken away from me, and then for the rest of the recording session, I'm in the studio like, yeah, all right. And this is our second record on Trustkill too, and I'm a teenager with my second album on Trustkill. That's really cool feeling. I'm like, I'm so unproud of how this sounds. I think the songs are awesome. I think we did a great job as far as that goes. But from a drum standpoint, I'm like, I'm not proud to show this off to my drum buddies.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I appreciate that about it. That you really. If I didn't know that story, I'd be like, yeah, no, it's fine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it's something interesting hearing, and I think it's things like that where I just think it's cool. Where This Is Hell has always been so important to me, and it's been so cool having this opportunity and hearing these stories, just because it's neat for people that are into the band. I have lots of friends that were into the band and still are too, and hearing some of this shit, it's just cool because it's especially when being familiar recording in studios or being in a band and doing different shit, and then hearing some of the same problems that it's like, oh, that's not just me. Shit, this shit can happen to anybody.
Right. Yeah, being on Trustkill and having a video on MTV didn't necessarily mean that there weren't stupid issues all the time. It didn't mean that I didn't play with two different bass drum beaters.
Oh my god! What was your favorite on Misfortunes?
$100 right now.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll Venmo you $100 right now if you can tell me what the premise of that Polygraph Cheaters video is.
I asked about the video and I spoke with Travis, and I'm not sure. I've seen it, plenty of times, and because he had mentioned even on, I think he was saying something like on Headbangers Ball, and I had remembered before like YouTube or anything, I saw it somewhere on TV, and I couldn't remember where the fuck it would have been, but it must have been that. But as far as a premise, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. I didn't think you would be able to. I don't know either.
Oh my god!
I was thinking about that at the time. To me, it was like, oh, High Roller is going to do a music video. Oh, it's going on Headbangers Ball. This is so cool. I'm a little kid. I don't know what it's about. I have no idea what that music video is about. Anyways, moving on. I thought that'd be so funny.
Touche. Yeah, I like that. And it looks cool.
I guess. Yeah. I don't look cool.
Man, that's part of the fun thing about going through and looking back on some of these times is you just you're feeling yourself at the time, and
right.
You're not thinking about in the future what maybe some of our styles might be looking like, and what we might think then.
Wagon before.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
What was your favorite song on Misfortunes?
On Misfortunes, Infected.
Ah, nice.
I think it's like track 2.
Mm-hmm.
That one was different for, it was mid-tempo fast. It wasn't just fast beat the whole time. And it was unique. It was a ton of fun to play. And there was a part in there, I think this might have actually been my idea. The breakdown in it, I ripped. Well, I don't play guitar, but I always have had pretty good idea. I'm good at like structure and coming up with like what part should come next. I can't tell you what the notes are, but I'm like, what if we do this? I'm kind of good at that. But I totally ripped off an Under Oath song in that song, and it's the breakdown part. How did you hear? How did that volume come through before? Was it too loud? Was it like crappy sounding?
No, I mean it came through all right.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'll show you real quick. I actually had them pulled up. So okay. So the breakdown in the Infected song. Hold on. This part.
Like the dropout.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The high and pretty guitar chords you're talking?
Yeah, well, even the kind of the structure of it too, plus the guitar chords. That
Okay.
fan of that first Under Oath record, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm jacking that. This part, did you listen to that? Oh, not the first Under Oath record. Did you listen to this one at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Weird.
Yeah.
Whoa, no shit. Wow. That's fucking crazy.
And I always thought it was really cool too, like having, you know, like we touched on at the very beginning of this interview, if you're into all sorts of different styles of music, yeah, I mean, this isn't, Under Oath isn't too far off from a hardcore band, but you know, you can grab influences from anywhere, man. Be it a lyric, or be it a melody, or be it a breakdown. There's a Straight from the Path song where the breakdown is literally the chorus of a Ludacris song. That I wanna lick you from your head to your toes. That song, you know that song?
Okay. Yeah.
Literally, we follow the rhythm of his lyrics in that song. So
It's from the first album?
from the Stray song,
Yeah.
it's from the first
Or
album.
not,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the first album, but the first album that you were on?
Yeah. Oh,
Make Your
yes.
Own History?
I was on. Yeah. It's Make Your Own History. The song Make Your Own History, the title track.
Weird.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that
we
is so
literally
insane.
get, you know, little things from anywhere. There were old stray breakdowns, like one of the band members like phone numbers. You just like do stabs based on the dude's phone number, like like if it starts with 631, ba 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 ba. That was 6 and 3 and 1. You know. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is insane! Holy
Yeah.
shit, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You know, I love hearing, you know, different things like that too. I mean, as far as playing drums, you know, I interviews, you know, vocalists and guitarists and different things, but speaking with somebody playing drums and kind of hearing some of those things, it's like, how did I not pick up on that? Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Damn.
The guys in Stray, we were really close with the dudes in the Ghost Inside, and we toured together like plenty. The Ghost Inside had one or two instances of that were wildly obvious. Like one of their breakdowns is like the Mario Brothers theme song, and I don't know if there was a conversation that we had with them in our travels that was about like, hey, get you know, ideas from things like outside of music. And one of their breakdowns was the Mario songs. It was like dun 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 dun, dun, you know. It was
Oh my god.
you need to go get like a little deeper of a cut, like an old Ludacris song before you start jacking stuff like that.
Man, that's sick. I mean, that's kind of like a reversal on like hip hop sampling, you know, different tracks, like sampling a beat from a hip hop track for a metal or a hardcore song. That's dope. Holy shit, that's sick.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, so from there, returning for Bastards Still Remain. Where did that, you know, where did that come from as far as, you know, maybe earlier conversations and you becoming re-involved with the band there?
I wish I had a really good story for you, but I got hit up by Rick Jimenez, you know, the guitar player. He told me he had these songs. I thought it'd be great. I mean, I guess what was it, like a 15-year anniversary or something of the album, or of Sundown?
Yeah.
I don't remember. But he was like, "Can I send you these songs? You want to go record them?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Cool, that'd be fun. He sends me these tunes. I sat down. I have a jam shed here at my house, and learned them all real quick. You know, what were they all like 45 seconds long anyway, so it wasn't that big a deal. And then we went and did it, and you know, it was a lot of fun for me because, you know, I had toured full time for 13 years, you know, between all of my bands, you know, 7 months a year for 13 years, and then now that you know, I own a real estate brokerage, I often miss that. You know, I play in that band Afterparty, but that's for fun, and our singer actually lives in France now anyway, so that's really few and far between that we even get together. But I certainly miss it.
Drew,
you know, I'm in a whole different. Yeah.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay.
He met a nice young gal on I don't know how they met actually, and she's French, and he moved to France. He was actually just here visiting.
Oh,
I was just
wow.
hanging out with like a month or so. Yeah, weird.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so when Rick had asked me to do that, anytime I can get involved in doing some music, I'm like, yeah, sign me up. The songs could have been terrible. I'd have been like, yep, I'm on it. So yeah, that was fun getting back in the studio with those guys. You know, it was a little, you can listen to it. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. It's not like we didn't spend a decade writing these songs or you know, practicing them or anything like that. It was really just for fun. So I had to remove that part of my brain that was like, oh, I need this to be the perfect product. I had to completely get rid of that. It was just like, let's just enjoy this literally one day. Was it one day or two? It might have been one day. Let's just enjoy this day in the studio. That's kind of what it was, you know. I think I did most of those songs in 2 to 3 takes. Just played them through. All right, go back. Played it through. Go back. Do I even need to? All right, yeah, no, next one.
I think this will do. It's fine.
Yeah. And there weren't any like giant mistakes in it or anything. It was just like the songs are pretty straightforward, and there's only so like imaginative you can be in kind of like more straightforward, like thrashy kind of punk songs. You know, there's only so much you can do before I'm walking all over it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and with that too, you know, I can say as far as that kind of brought it back to an extreme version of being stripped down, but it almost felt more punky than like the band had felt even with like the earlier, you know, demos and things where that was still kind of a hardcore feel. This was almost like a straight up punk album with some of the shorter songs. And so it was cool. You know, it was a difference where it was like, you know, it's not necessarily going to be a whole lot of, you know, different transitions or things, but the power and the energy is there. And that's, you know, really what drives a lot of that, and was cool.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you liked it, and like I was never into a lot of super old school punk and thrash stuff. That was like Travis and Rick were big into it, especially Rick. And so I'm sure there's like a clear, like in my opinion at least, defining line between like the stylistic changes in This Is Hell, and it was right after Misfortunes is when I left the band. You know, I think it was. It wasn't like a spoken thing, but it was kind of like an unspoken thing that maybe Rick like really wanted to go a more of a thrashy route, and it was like, all right, the young guy's out, let's go the thrashy route, you know. So yeah, and we had talked before about, you know, favorite songs on those records. It started to not be as much my style of what I really even liked, you know. And This Is Hell was more like comeback kitty, you know. That was the style that I really loved and could get into. And then when it went more the thrash route, just not my style, you know. Different strokes. I'm not knocking it by any means. But yeah, so then when I did the Bastards Still Remain thing, it was like I'm now playing catch up to that style that they were doing. So let me put my little spin on it. It's kind of neat, you know.
Yeah, sweet. What would you say was a favorite song that came out of working on that album?
Oh, I wrote it down. Hold on. I had to like re-listen to it, dude. I don't know how many times I put it out.
Okay.
I'm getting texts. Oh, In the Name Of.
Ah, nice. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. I don't really have a story behind it. I listened to the album real quick this morning. I was like, yep, that's the one. It was just a little more unique. I think it had some actually had some unique drum parts and like slower stuff that I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. Sweet. I like that. And that's a good choice too. I dig that one for sure. What you know, as far as now, I don't generally put out too much as far as in the future, but I'm gonna be having you on here. We're gonna kind of dig into some of the other projects that you have and some of the other things as well. We're kind of running on the hour here, so if it's cool, I was gonna kind of do this finale here, and then we'll probably pick up in this next episode that we do here, if that's cool with you, man.
That's very cool with me, man. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start off with doing the old March Madness here. Let's go with saying, you know, to dig 2 songs out of here. What would we choose out of Diamond Lanterns, Heaven Sent, and Nobody Leaves Without Singing the Blues? What 2 songs would you choose out of those? That's tough.
Choose to pick like my favorites out of those 3?
Yep.
Diamond Lanterns. And what were the other 2? Nobody Leaves, and what else?
Heaven Sent, Hellbound.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Nobody Leaves.
Okay. All right, and then we got infested and in the name of.
Oh, infected. Yeah.
Or
Out of
infected. I'm
those,
sorry. Yep. Hmm.
those two definitely infected.
All right, so infected out of those two.
Got
Okay,
it.
and then
Down to it. That song is on misfortunes. That'd be ridiculous. Um,
say that one more time. It cut out.
I imagine it came down to my favorite "This Is Hell" song is on misfortunes. That would be absurd. I really
Okay.
would record that record and probably pull. That was a long record, by the way. Like it was too long. We needed to dial back some of those parts. Anyway, go on. Sorry, we're over an hour.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have. Let's see here. We have Diamond Lanterns versus Nobody Leaves. What would you choose out of those two?
Diamond Lanterns. It's such a classic.
Okay. All right, so then we got Infected versus Diamond Lanterns. What would you say is your favorite?
It's gonna be Diamond Lanterns. It's not a.
Diamond Lanterns.
But that's solely from a what is it called, a the vibe, or just the nostalgia of the band. To me, I can picture like the old T-shirts with the Diamond Lantern with like the zombie hand, and that just reminds me of like a certain time. If we're talking those two songs from a musician standpoint next to each other, my idea would totally change. But that just reminds me, this was such a cool time in my life. Like, oh, people really care about this band, and people are coming to the shows, and this is cool. Hardcore was so cool around that time in the early 2000s. It was freaking cool. Touring with Modern Life is War, Bane, Comeback Kid, Outbreak, With Honor, like all these cool bands. Those were the days.
Hell yeah, yeah. That's.
Oh my God, what do I sound like?
I mean, the cool thing is you still have the opportunity as far as doing things like Afterparty and doing shows and different things like that. I mean, that's still sick. So, and I certainly hope that it doesn't come to a point where you don't play, because your playing has been really important to my interest in drums and musically in general, man. So please keep that shit up for real.
Thanks, man. That really means so much to hear you say that, and I appreciate it. And there have been times where I'm like, you know what, I enjoy drumming, and I feel like I'm pretty good at it. Why aren't I playing more? And then I do get myself out in that drum shed. I'm like, why don't I do this every freaking day? So yeah, that means a lot, and I certainly won't stop until I have terrible carpal tunnel or something.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Look, this has been this. We'll be having you back on here to talk a little bit more other projects and different things like that too. So I'm super excited for that as well. And thank you first and foremost for your time today, man. It's really meant a lot. I appreciate it.
Eric, my pleasure. You froze there for a minute, but I kind of got the gist of it. But yeah, let me know about June. I'm happy to come back on. And yeah, my pleasure. Great chatting with you. This is fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much, man. The Lo-Fi Horror Guy, my dude, Dan Bourke. You guys take care. Be safe, man.
Later.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of a live studio audience.